Hello lovelies. Last month was Pride Month, which is great. I only wish straight people had a month in which they could celebrate their sexuality as openly and acceptingly as happens during Pride Month. But it's great, it's a fantastic thing, shows how far we've come. I am fully in support of the Pride movement. And D&D has been very supportive of Pride, of gay people. They even produce a special rainbow coloured ampersand that they use the money from to support various causes in the LGBT community. Well, that's great. Fantastic. So I was a little surprised when I received, well, not even a takedown notice, it wasn't filed properly, but an objection to the BDSM themed parody D&D shirt that I put out. It seems they're happy if you're gay, and you're allowed to be prideful of that. But if you like a bit of with your, then somehow it gets a little bit different. Anyway, here's the original design. And yes, it incorporates the D&D ampersand, but changed. You know, the dragon is in a ball gag for a start. It's an obvious parody, it's an obvious joke. The juxtaposition of dungeon in the BDSM sense with dungeon in the sense of Dungeons and Dragons. There's a dual meaning to roleplay as well that I think some people perhaps don't necessarily appreciate. It's in the BDSM flag colours, you know, black and blue, and it has the strapline, "We have the best dungeons." I think it's pretty obvious that it's a parody, and it's sufficiently changed, and it's not like it's being used as a game logo or anything that would directly compete, really. I mean, it must be my mistake. I mean, using their ampersand, that's crossing the line from parody into infringement. It's not like there's any other t-shirts on their site that would make such an egregious use of their intellectual property and go completely unpunished, is it? No, that wouldn't make any sense at all. Now here, at this point, is where it gets pants on head retarded, because obviously this being parody and fair use, and their jurisdiction being America, where free speech and parody and so on are heavily protected, I figured it was just a mistake, and I would get in touch and I would point out that it's parody, and that they have all these other products with the same symbol that they haven't done anything about, and it was protected basically as fair use within their jurisdiction. So I got in touch and I told them that, and bear in mind I hadn't actually been given any kind of official takedown notice from Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro or anybody. It had just been taken down. They hadn't really told me why, per se, other than intellectual property issues. So yeah, I got in touch, because, you know, parody, it's protected. I got the run around and the sort of standard box corporate responses for a while, and then eventually I got told that they could only restore the product if I had permission from the IP holder. You need permission from the IP holder to do a parody of them. What? Well, nobody tell Weird Al, the poor sod will be devastated. His entire career lies in tatters. Eesh. Well, this illustrates a whole bunch of problems, doesn't it? There are people who take the piss, and they tend to go unpunished, whereas me, playing within the rules as they is wrote, gets shit. Probably because of some busybody somewhere who has an issue with me for one reason or another, and so went crying to Daddy that I'd done something naughty. Not the kind of naughty I prefer, though, but still, I cannot get out of them the report, why they wanted it taken down, other than the vague IP issues. They will not tell me what it is about the thing that isn't okay. I'm having to assume that it's the use of the heavily altered and recontextualized ampersand, over which they might be understandably paranoid and protective. So I'm going to try and do a redesign with a different but similar ampersand to see if that fixes it. So this is my public record, and I've kept the emails and told Teespring that they have been thoroughly unhelpful, but I've kept it all on record of me asking and asking and asking and trying to find ways to remedy the situation, and them just stonewalling me. And so I'm telling you here now, I will be redesigning it and putting it back up. But if you got one of the earlier ones, congratulations, you have a very rare thing indeed. Maybe you should frame it and put it on your wall. But this also illustrates a bigger problem. Intermediary companies that do things like t-shirts and so on for people are vulnerable in one way to people abusing that situation to produce IP over which they have no rights, but equally they're being incredibly cowardly when it comes to defending a creator's rights to parody, fair use, remix, remodel, all of those kind of things, which, you know, are established rights that have been protected in court time and time again, that the right to parody things. But if anyone who you might use to do any of these things for you is just willing to buckle at the slightest sign of pressure from a company, then the law doesn't matter. You know, the threat of a lawsuit, the threat of our corporate overlords in systems where money buys justice rather than what's actually on the books. You know, that's a problem, and I think it's upon people who even just print and produce material that other people have created to step up and defend it, or to allow the creator to fight it out with the complainant themselves. As things stand, I have no explanation, no way to know how to remedy what's wrong. I'm working blind, and yet I might get punished for repeat violations. But I have no idea what I did that was considered a violation in the first place. So fuck, you guys know what I'm doing. I've kept the emails. Let this be a matter of public record. And fuck whoever it was that went tattling to mommy that the bad man did a bad thing. Shove it up your ass. Zang.